Welcome back. Episode 11. We got Nate in the building. We got Corey in the building. Once again, we're getting back on track. We're going to get into it. And we did our last one on Sunday. I believe the episode dropped. The guys work hard on getting these episodes out. I don't touch them because I fuck everything up that I touch. I don't know why they want me to be the host, but here we are. We're
This was
doing
your
it
idea.
like it was Corey's idea. And I told him I was a package deal with you. So that's how we became 3DS. It's Nate can explain things in a more elegant way than I can, and he also has a intergalactic way of thinking.
I mean, we can do an origin story later on, or maybe at the end of this episode. But there's a lot to get to, and I know the people are excited to hear you speak about it. So give us some headlines. Give us that crypto.
Yeah. So,
We'd love to see it.
like I said, we recorded Sunday. They dropped the episode Monday,
Yes.
Monday evening, and it feels like there's been so much that has come out just since Sunday. I feel like the water circle and the drain. There's like all this news that's going down. I'm trying to grab it all up and digest it and come up with my own thoughts for it. All right. First and foremost, we said it was going to happen. It happened. Michael Saylor does what Michael Saylor does. He posts on Sunday. Monday, he drops the hammer. That's fine. He acquired 20,356 Bitcoin for $1.99 billion. Take note, most people would think that would send us up. Ha ha ha! Not yet. Not yet.
Well,
So we
you had a big counter there in a 48-hour time span as well. Monday, Tuesday, looking at 2 to 300 billion, depending on what your time frame is. So you got to keep that at the back of your mind, folks. You see these numbers flying across because you're reading the positive news and you start to negate that negative news. And then you get this confusion, and that's where the disbelief sets in. But again, like we always talk about, do that research, understand the market, understand the outflow versus the inflow, look at both, and then start to understand where your chart's at as far as your price point.
Well said.
absolutely. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and I'll just stay with Michael Saylor and we'll run through Michael Saylor news because the guy is just if it's Bitcoin, it's Michael Saylor. I mean, he is gonna probably at once his time is gone, he will have a statue if Bitcoin goes where we all believe that it will go, where it will go. It's just a matter of time. And we've been talking about it, adoption. We got some more stuff in the way of adoption to digest tonight. So here we go. Uh Michael Saylor is going to be the keynote speaker for Bitcoin for America. That's going to happen on March 11th, I believe. And he's basically going to be talking to legislators and teaching them about the blockchain and Bitcoin and how it all works. He's been an advocate, a great advocate for the community thus far. I think he's going to help thrust it the rest of the way that where we need it to be. What else I got in Michael Saylor news here? Uh, he also, so at the CPAC, he suggested the U.S. goes for, well, he wants us to go for the full 20%, which is crazy numbers. I mean, Cynthia Loomis wants to do 1 million Bitcoin over 5 years. And he was basically saying if we go ahead and get our 20%, we'll secure the world dominance on Bitcoin, which effectively we with our little fiat dollar, um, we have the world dominance with the dollar. So it's to move into that next sector of the payment system. That's Michael Saylor. That's what Michael Saylor's doing. Any comments on that, boys?
He's the spokesperson for Bitcoin on behalf of corporate America. He's the guy who's kind of put himself out there, which I'm sure he doesn't care. He's embraced it to be he's gonna, like you said, he's gonna get a statue built for him, or I don't think this is gonna happen. If it doesn't work out, he's gonna be the fall guy that everybody, oh well, you've been saying da 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 about Bitcoin going to, I don't know, 15 million a coin. I feel like that's why a lot of companies rather invest into strategy B than directly buying themselves.
Again, less risky going through strategy B than buying it themselves. Fair enough. And today, earlier, 2:30 Eastern time, we had the first subcommittee meeting that Cynthia Loomis held. So that was the first step forward into our new crypto legislation. Haven't got to watch the full video yet, just because it came out at 2:30, and we're kind of preparing for this. I can't give you too many notes on it. It seems like it was a positive meeting. Have any of you guys heard anything just yet?
Not from that committee, no.
Fair
I was
enough.
watching the cabinet. I was watching the cabinet before we came on the cabinet meeting, committee meeting.
All right. So let's talk
But just the
about
fact that conversation's taking place where it is the positive. If you want to take, if you're
100%.
looking for
Yeah,
something to take away from it, people, that is the positive traction.
traction.
If your goal
And
is
it's in
to,
Washington. It's in
yeah,
Washington. The fact that it's in Washington, they're yeah, like I said, they're talking about it. There's that more exposure. It's just it's so hard to like contain myself because I just like I know where it's going. I know where the future is. You could see you've seen the same things play out before, and you see this thing happening, and it's just got to get it's got to get its framework, and then the money is just going to follow in. And what do we always talk about? Patience. You just got to have patience. That money's going to leave the weak, impatient hands, and it's going to flow right into the patient hands that can hold and that aren't hurting. Honestly, I mean, it's tough times right now, but we could just stash $1 away for some Bitcoin or whatever. I mean, it doesn't. Whatever you got will help. Moving
yeah. I
into the
mean,
next
this
thing.
is the time to be advantageous of the price action, whether you hate it or not. Like we can sit around and be impatient and upset and distraught over all of this going on, but at the end of the day, what can you do? The only thing you can do, in my opinion, that's logical on a day like today, yesterday, is buy more. Like it's, I don't know. That's what I advocate. That's what we advocate. Anybody who tells you the dollar cost average, that's what they're advocating.
Absolutely. And the market has been, you look at your chart and you go, oh my God. It is, what do they say, blood in the street. Well, it's time for these boys to eat. I mean, they can vouch. The sideways movement kind of had me a little frustrated. Soon as we dip, oh boy, I was fired up. I'm talking about ready to go. Bull is in the pen.
That's how you know you're getting seasoned. You're starting to understand the opportunity that's put in your face, not just the sadness in it. Like, oh my God, I'm down 10K today. Fucking perfect.
Facts. Seeing it
Get,
floating around, or things that I entered late into. Now I'm getting it at a lower dollar cost average, and that's a hey, let's go.
you got to
I'm
look at
saying, I
these
mean,
big dips like they're gifts.
They are blessings.
no, they looking at the horse in the mouth. That's what they doing. They said, no, no, no. Exactly. I mean, I was able to purchase H bar 4 or 5 days in a row and not move my price average 1 cent and accumulate another, 20% of what I was holding. So, like we talk about, be in this sense, you want to be an opportunist. I hate opportunists in a lot of the world, but when you have these gifts, as we call them, because we don't look at it in the negative framework of the mind. So stack up, don't shake out, break out.
Hey, I
Hey, I
like
like
that.
it. Bars.
I like that.
I mean, it's a if you buy right now and it does if it just stays where it's at, you're 30% just to the all-time high. So this is kind of when you want to be DCAing. I know we say DCA all the time, but if you can and you have the extra money, now, like he said, now's the time to be advantageous and a little more aggressive on your buys. So if you have the extra money to spare, buy a little bit more than you normally would because you're getting it at a good price.
Oh yeah, if it's fucking wind down Wednesday for you, and you usually go out and spend 200 at the bar, including dinner for you and your spouse or whatever, maybe cut that back this week and get you $100 or $200 in one of these asset classes. We ain't shilling a single one of them, but we're investing in a lot of them. I mean, anything in that top 10 structure is a steal right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably you can go down to the top 20. But needless to say, yeah, I thought, or we were sharing some thoughts amongst the boys and in the chat for the surfer bros out there. I was like, dude, it's like watching this giant wave building up, and you're like, I can't miss this. Grab the board. It's time to paddle out. And I'm talking, I've been paddling since summertime, so I'm in the water. I'm watching this motherfucker grow. All of us are in the water. We're sitting on the board watching this thing grow and looking back on the shoreline at all these folks just standing there being mouth breathers. It ain't the time to be a mouth breather. You better fucking take $1 up out the lint catch in your dryer. You better dig up underneath your mattress. It is time. It is time. It's time. Like I said, it's a gift that it came down. Time to jump on in the water because it ain't gonna sit down here for too long. There's a few. There's a few different charts that I'm gonna pull up, and I'll let Corey kind of run through them with you guys. But man, oh man, we'll get there. I want to run through a couple of these little quick headlines that we captured the past couple days before we get into it. So, as you guys know, uh, Strategic Bitcoin Reserve moves past the committee stage for Ohio and Oklahoma. So, congrats to them. Now it's time to get it through the House.
It seems like that's where everything's falling apart. I wonder who's against it or what the regulatory problem is with what's being presented. Because I haven't personally seen, I've seen the denials, but I haven't seen any of the receipts of like, you know,
Why?
red lined. Here's the problem. This is what you need to fix. Whatever the nomenclature's off. I don't know what the problem is, but so some clarity there would be nice. You know, in from my perspective.
I think well, when I look at Oklahoma's, it's a 10%, that's pretty aggressive. 10% of the public funds. It's a pretty aggressive number. So I wouldn't be surprised if that one got pushed down just because of the number is so high. I could see like a 5% to start out. Like you're going straight into 10 is a little aggressive. That's someone who was coached by Michael Saylor. But it is what it is. You swing for the fences.
You start negotiation. You go in for a salary raise. You shoot for a number that you think you're probably not even going to get, but the idea is to fall somewhere just a little bit higher than you want it to be. So you
Mm-hmm.
start out, if you're at 25, you want to go 30, and you walk in there and say, I want to, $30, they're going to talk you down to 28, 50, 29. But you go in there and say, I'm 32. This is what I'm worth. This is what I'm doing. These are the steps I'm going to take to, fill that gap from, 25 to 32. That's a big jump. I'm just using this example, but so in that sense, it's like, okay, well, if we go in at 10% and they said we can go 2.5, perfect, we got something. But they came out with nothing. So we'll see. Like you said, it's just, again, still the beginning, early phases, infancy phases. Nobody's ever done this. They're all trying to pioneer this and be the first state and get it correct. So it's coming down the pipeline.
Absolutely. With that, there's still what 22 states outside of that kind of just got it floating around that I believe that once there's not going to be a lot of movement until we see something on the federal level. That way, there's more clarity because I just don't think that states want to even deal with the potential of any litigation or any problems, right? So they're just going to sit on it, sit on their hands, and maybe that's what's holding it back. Too soon. They want to wait on the federal framework.
It could be, but at the same time, yeah, that one's a hard. It's hard for me to understand. I know it's kind of a federal issue, but it's the same thing because I look at it like each state is a corporation. We're not withholding, companies right now from accessing digital assets and investing in it. So I'm just curious, like
Yeah,
what
yeah,
line is it in there that says no?
I don't
yeah.
necessarily think it's that. I think when Trump got in office and was talking about the reserve, it gave them the green light to even start doing this and working towards. Because I mean, look what happened. You got 33 states that proposed some type of bill, whether it got further along or not.
In four
If
weeks.
if we were still with the other administration, this would never even had happened. Not one of them would have came out. So just the fact that they know the feds are working towards that, they're like, okay, well, let's not drag our feet. Let's start moving now because they can probably get it done quicker on a state level than a federal level, anyways. And even if they did pass it right now, I don't see any kind of, blowback on them for doing it because the Trump administration is not going to go after them for making a crypto reserve or a Bitcoin reserve.
Nope.
So I just think politics and government in general move slow. I mean, things like this to build things, it takes time. So none of this is kind of the patience thing, and you're talking about you're getting excited. Everybody's getting giddy because things are finally starting to move in that direction. That's why I said what I said in the bourbon chat, because yes, the price is down, but the fundamentals have not changed. They're better than they ever have been. So to think that we're just gonna fall back down to bear market lows is crazy. You're just being fearful. You're letting your emotion rule you.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing goes up in a straight line forever. You need
Exactly.
pullbacks in markets. You got to wash out these weak hands. I mean, basically, if you bought anytime, anytime last year, you're in profit right now. So if you bought within the last 2 to 3 months, maybe you're down a little bit. But again, this is the time for you just to DCA down. If you bought at 100, 84 looks beautiful. It's a
It's all
long-term savings
beautiful.
account. Bitcoin is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get-rich-slow scheme. So contrary to popular belief, yes, crypto moves and it goes up fast and moves quick, but I've said it before on the channel that most of the time it's going to be boring. Just like we were getting bored with the sideways action. We got excited for it to drop. You're going to get excited when it goes up, but then it's going to get boring for an extended period of time. And that's when you got to be doing your research and your due diligence so you're prepared for these moments.
I would say, excuse me, it's not even just Bitcoin. It's all the alts. I mean, they're all. It's not none of it is a get rich quick. If you're dabbling in the meme market, the percentage is so low that it's disgusting that you even hit. You probably got a better. I haven't done the odds, but you probably got a better chance of hitting the lottery than hitting a meme coin.
For sure. I
But
mean, the meme coin, I would say extravaganza in
mania,
21, in 20 and 21 it was more isolated memes. Like you probably had 10 to 20 at most meme coins that were like people were really buying. Now you have thousands of them. So the money has kind of been spread throughout. And I just think it's a
saturated.
bad thing. It's a bad thing for the crypto space because it takes attention off of utility.
Mm-hmm.
When I was first getting in, it was all about utility and what the coin can do and who the developers were. Now then it's changed on a retail end to, well, what can make me the most money? They don't care if it has any utility at all or if they even know who the developing team is. They don't care. They just want to see it cheap, put $5 in and make 10,000 or more. But that doesn't, again, your likelihood is less than 1% of doing that. So literally you would have been better off buying Bitcoin than buying any meme coin. And yes, I know that's not as appealing or attractive as buying a meme, but you wouldn't have lost your money. You might not have made a crazy amount of money, but you would have made something versus nothing or losing.
Yeah. It would have been the, the thing the meme coin mania just got so oversaturated with all the coins that now, I think we discussed it on Sunday. It's just I would like to see some type of regulation around it because it'll help suppress the nonsense that goes on. It'll help keep out people from launching coins every single day, multiple times a day. That's the intention that I would hope for with that kind of uh, regulatory framework. But I
I
don't
just
play
think
in that world too much. I got a few of them here and there, but I'm 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 long game, baby. 2030, I'm looking at that horizon
the
and
meme coins
beyond.
are just gambling, you know? Again, it's education because if you were educated on the crypto space and what's going on, you wouldn't be as aggressive with buying meme coins. You would understand the long-term value of Bitcoin and these top, I would just say top 100 coins, honestly.
Hmm.
And even within the top 100, some of them still haven't even really moved like that. That's why I said you're almost better off buying Bitcoin a year ago. Maybe not to this exact point, but if you bought it at 50 grand, you basically done doubled up. If you bought it before January, end of 23, you were buying it around 30, 40 grand. You know what I'm saying? So you're more than doubled. Your meme coins, there's some exceptions that have blown up, but that's why you can't just I say don't chase shiny objects because you're gonna be like, man, this coin went up 500% in the last year, but Bitcoin's only went up 100%. But
Hmm.
look at what S&Ps went up the last year. You'll feel better.
All right, let's switch it from the meme coin biz. Uh, PayPal announced that they will introduce their stable coin to their 20 million plus small and medium sized merchants. That's pretty big. It seems like the stable coin is the kind of the next step, right? That's where everybody is kind of filtering their stuff into, building out to Bank of America is also, and it said that they're gonna do their stable coin. Um, it seems like everybody's gonna kind of do these dollar backed stable coins, and that's like the next layer on the cake, if you will. Just that adoption, that implementation. That's where we're at. And you got GameStop, the the CEO got a letter urging him to dump 5 billion of the company's worth into Bitcoin. I I tried to find some more information on it. It just seems like it was a headline. So 5 billion in the market there. You got the 20 million plus users on PayPal. There's going to be a lot of money moving across these networks. It's kind of where what we're talking about when we say these different things. I'm going to pull up this chart here. Corey's going to kind of run you guys through it. I'm sure if you follow crypto, you know this. You've seen this chart before. So
Mm-mm.
Okay, go ahead, Bo.
No, no,
So you're
this is. I mean, this is your floor. You got it.
okay. So I think this particular chart is pretty accurate to where we're at currently, mainly because of the dip we had here, the shakeout. I would correlate this to what happened in the beginning to middle of October when we were up at 66,000 and then we dropped to 59,000 on the 10th. And then we kind of grinded all the way up a little bit. So that's the momentum building stage. And then leading into the election, that's kind of when things jumped a lot. That was our first sentiment extreme. We've seen the price go break all-time highs, 73,000 all the way up to 106. Now everybody's panicking because prices are coming back down. This is kind of, fits the bear trap that we're in right now. So I think this chart particularly matches our cycle compared to the one that most people have probably seen, Wall Street's market psychology. That's accurate, but again, it's the same things. It's just kind of showing the overall market emotion. That's what you're really looking at when you're looking at charts. You're looking at human emotion, and when people feel confident, whether that's current, world events that are going on, there's going to be a lot of fear. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty in the market versus when you're getting all these positive news, kind of like where we're at, you should be seeing optimism in the market. But most people only feel that when price is going up. People that are in the know feel that when prices like we are, when the prices drop, we're still have that optimism in us because we know where it's going in the long term. And we know that 25 to 20% dips are normal in bull runs. Um, when we haven't seen an extreme blow off top, so we're still early, folks. In adoption in the cycle, don't panic.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to get wound around the axle there on how much the market has dipped, but like we said, you just honestly, I mean, I said I got excited. I was like, bet now I feel better about buying more, and I didn't necessarily buy when we were riding the highs. I didn't follow my own advice and DCA up because I already had a firm position. So now that we're back down, I'm like, time to go, baby. I would say here this is the other chart that Corey was talking about. Um they use or they show the different pullbacks here. This is from 2017 and they had six pullbacks on theirs.
Look, they had four before the summer. So June, where you're right there, yep. So they had actually five up until that point, but I would say we've only really had one big pullback. Most of the other ones are like 10 to 15%. You- That should be nothing. That you shouldn't even get out of bed for that at this point.
Woo. You don't get out of bed. I mean, I would love to see this thing. Like I said, it feels like you're just compressing that spring down, and that motherfucker is just you're like one headline away from it popping off.
How
One good
much
headline.
Bitcoin went up like 100%. No, not 100%, but like 40% in a month. If we do the same thing right now, we'll be sitting around 140, 150. So this is kind of like what we talked about on Sunday. All it takes is for, it could get boring for months, 3, 4 months. It could slowly grind down. And then there could be that one month where you just shatter all of that stuff and recapture all those gains and then some, especially in the altcoin market. I know everybody's kind of getting hammered. I think this is kind of why the market is doing what it's doing. I feel like a lot of people are overexposed to altcoins right now, me myself in particular. Uh, and I think that's kind of why Bitcoin has been suppressed too, as far as not moving. Instead of breaking up, it broke down because everybody's trying to find, everybody looks at Bitcoin like it's too expensive.
Yeah. Well, it's only expensive if that's expensive to you, right? What's the common saying? Like you deserve to get in where you
You
got
deserve
in,
Bitcoin
or
at the price that you got it for.
right.
But I say that, but that's the wrong, honestly, that's the wrong frame of mind you need to be in. I just say that to try to relate to the no coiners or the person that is first getting into crypto. Because I know I was like that. Like, look, I'm like, oh my God, it's $20,000. That's a lot of money. I don't have 20 grand. Then I started educating myself, realizing stacking sats, stack sats, that's the best way to get it. Yeah, I can't buy a whole Bitcoin right now. Still don't have a whole Bitcoin, but I will,
Yes, sir.
so
Yeah. So I brought this one up. I think it's very interesting that Americans are own 14% of Bitcoin, or 14% of Americans own Bitcoin, and then the global ownership is a little measly 4%. We always talk about adoption on this show, so I thought this was a good chart to bring up and just kind of see where we're at. Like these are like internet in the 90s, 1990. It's just so early. We say it all the time, every single week. It is so early. We got so much more road to lay down before we drive on it. So early.
we're just now ramping up. Look at that curve that we're about to
Yep.
hit. We're about
We're
to hit
about to
that
hit
nice
this
curve. And then once we're in
onward and upward.
that second line, man, it's lights out.
I'd say once you hit 25% adoption, that's where we're going to hit like those um
Parabolic.
yeah, that kind of compound interest, if you will, in adoption. We're just gonna high and right, baby, high and right. Okay, AVAX. They they partner with Visa. They've launched their Visa cards. You can use USDT, USDC, your AVAX, swipe it from the card. Again, implementation. It's all just one little step closer. All these like little nuanced things you look at and you're like, oh, it's a little headline. But in the grand scheme for the everyday user, this will be how it's implemented. You're gonna be able to take your little AVEX card down to Walmart and swipe your groceries.
Yep.
It's
And again, like we explained in an earlier episode, because people are like, well, they don't accept Bitcoin, they don't accept, doesn't matter. Visa's going to pay them the fiat. They're going to extract your cryptocurrency and they'll hold that asset. So that's how that works. No matter where you are, anybody who accepts the Visa, they'll accept that currency. You just go in there, dictate what you're using on your, I guess it'd be a banking app somewhere in there, and then go forward. It's not pseudoscience.
and not to be overshadowed. Ondo and MasterCard, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, they're
Mondo.
doing it too. You're gonna see this
Bitcoin.
across the board though.
I was gonna say that you're gonna see this across the board to with top coins coming out with their own debit cards essentially. Like it's gonna be basically like the credit card world where, hey, if you sign up with us, you get, we'll give you I don't know, 10 AVAX or five
Yeah.
AVAX, and then as you spend, you get percentage back. Coin crypto.com's doing that. I know there's a couple, I think Coinbase has a card, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's gonna feel like the credit card world in the sense of you're gonna be they're gonna try to advertise and get on board people with incentives. So, I
I mean,
mean,
it
bullish.
works.
It's implementation, like you said, it's utilization. It's what the market needs to see, so people know that this is real and that it's going to be used in
Just got to get away
everyday
from
society.
we just got to get away from the negative headlines. That's the big thing. Getting away from those negative headlines that kind of they like to throw back at us, the community. Last chart of my show. Corey's gonna talk you guys through it here. The Wyckoff.
Okay, so this one's interesting. We kind of seen the same scenario play out in 21 with this Wyckoff distribution. If you look at the double top we kind of had, that was a Wyckoff distribution play. Um, this chart is showing, this is kind of what I was explaining to Bo earlier, is showing the spring is now. I personally think we got a little bit more downside, um, down to about 78K, and there's a reason for that because there's a CME gap there. And as we were sitting here doing this, I was just doing some quick charting. I love my curvatures. I love bottoms and tops. So this was very, if you look at this, you could
Don't we
see there's
all?
a there's a there's an arch right there. So let me flip over and share my screen because I have it pulled up. All right. So this little purple line, arching top. You don't like to see arching tops. They tend to break down. And then also you could say that this is an M pattern, which they have a high likelihood of breaking down. And the price target for this, and this is how you kind of come up with it. You take, you measure it from the top to the bottom of the range, and then you add it, you put it right here where this is what would be called the neckline. So it lost the support, and this measured move is showing it's going to come down to 74. I don't think it's going to go that low. And if it does, it's not going to be trading down there for days. So, but I'm going to show this chart. So this chart, this is the CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So the futures. Right back here on the 8th of November, we had a gap. It gapped up from 77.3 up to 81. These have a 94% likelihood of filling. So we're going to fill this. It's just a matter of time. I think it's going to happen within the next week, honestly. Um, but again, look at this downward trend we have on the RSI. I want to see it go fill that gap and then break this trend. So once we break this trend and we get some daily closes outside here, we're going to be looking really strong. And by the time this pops up to here, this could already be back at 90, 95. So I would like to see that happen. Again, this needs to fill. I talked to Bo about this. Where were we? We were looking at one of them.
That was months ago.
Yeah, that was months ago, but it happened. And then just for quick reference, like I said, curvature. This is the S&P. Today, my friend texted me. He said, "What do you think is going to happen?" I didn't trade today. I just looked at it when it was about right here. I said, "It's going to break down." I should have took my own advice. I would have made some good money right here. But this basically is a smaller scale of curvature. Market opened, went up, curved, broke down. Same thing over here. Uh, so this is the start of the market. The market dropped, went up, curved, broke down hard. So, and then the same could be said here. Look, so we're starting to get curvature down here. So we're going to get a move up. That's the S&P, but Bitcoin, I don't think Bitcoin's looking like that right now. Oh, what is going on here? She's glitching out. She's stroking out right now.
Too many charts pulled up. Can't keep up
Yeah,
with you.
too many charts. Dang. All right. Well, that's that.
Well, I guess you guys just got your game for the week. He just put you on, and I didn't even say give him some game.
I mean, hey, when the opportunity presents itself, there we go.
Yeah, why not, right? All right. What else do we got? Canada is the global leader in Bitcoin adoption with 10.1% residents owning crypto. Did you
Oh,
guys ever know that that
Canada.
was the case?
No, but
It
at the
makes
same
sense.
at the same time, you got to look at that's per capita. Like they only have 41 million people. There's 38 million people live in California. So, on the grand scale, it's not like they're ahead of the world. They don't, the population's smaller. Because at our number, what'd you say Americans were? What was that percentage?
Uh,
14% of the
14,
global.
yeah. 14% of Americans own Bitcoin. And then
That's
the
10x
world,
what Canada's got
yeah.
as far as an actual number per pupil.
But Canada actually had a reason to buy Bitcoin. Americans necessarily haven't had a reason other than through research and basically conviction. When that whole trucker thing happened and they shut those people's bank
Hmm.
accounts off, that was a big catalyst for them to say, "Hey, well, if I just have Bitcoin, they can't stop my money from moving around." So I think that
Can't
was
beat banking.
22 or 21 when that happened, but I feel like that's probably took a big chunk of Canadians to put money into crypto because hey, if the government's turning off my account, again, that's why people buy Bitcoin is to get away from irresponsible governments and having control over your livelihood.
Shoo, could you imagine? Oh my Lord.
Getting debanked. There's a lot of people that got debanked in the U.S.,
Yeah.
especially during the last election cycle, which fucking is insane. But
Mm-mm-mm.
to your
But those
point,
are those are rich people. We're talking common working people.
well, I think some of them were just not even that rich. They just had a political opinion that the institution that owns the bank didn't agree with. It was like political commentators, smaller time people, not
Yeah.
necessarily, a couple million maybe, depending on how their sponsorships and everything laid out and if they run their own channel. But still, just the fact that that can be done to anyone is insane. I mean,
Nuts.
it's the same thing that happened to Russia. The Democratic Party froze their all of their assets and all their money they had tied up here, and then they started talking about sending that money somewhere else. It's So that's when BRICS was like, hold the fucking phone. Maybe we need to, get away from the dollar as well. But that's a whole nother episode right there because that's going to be ongoing for a long time, thankfully, because of the current administration. But
Even BRICS is wanting to allocate into Bitcoin though too.
mhm. Well, that's where
Yep.
they were headed. Yeah, they were like, fuck the US dollar. We don't need to trade in this. We don't need to make purchases in oil and blah, 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 blah. So then they started using Bitcoin in the Middle East, UAE, Saudi, all those rich resource companies. But fucking Bukele still buying. You saw the inflows. You saw the institutional inflows today. Everything's crashing. It's funny how they're
Today and
buying
yesterday. Yep.
billions and billions.
There's tons of inflows, and it's all by the quote unquote whales. The whales are buying it up, laughing at these folks who are selling off right now.
Stop selling your Bitcoin.
Stop selling the Bitcoin.
Stop selling most of your crypto. All of it.
Hang in there. It'll be all right. Be all
Sell
right.
your
Be
memes.
patient. Be patient. All right. Hit me with them coins of the week. Nate.
Bitcoin.
Nope. Nate. See? Switch it up. Nate.
BTC, H bar, Algo, XRP, this guy. And let me give it to him, give it to him, give it to him. Solana.
Oh man, he left it out.
Ooh, wee.
He You
I'm
just
not.
went live on Sunday.
I'm just trying to keep it. I'm trying to keep it below $1.
Corey, what do
Leave
you
it
got for the
alone.
week?
Bitcoin, Litecoin,
Oh, Lord have mercy.
uh, XDC,
See,
and yeah, I'll go with him. Algo. What is that,
that's
4?
four. Yeah, you need one more.
And then XRP.
Hey, okay. I like that.
What coins are you most bullish on though? That's what I'm curious. Outside of Bitcoin,
What am I most bullish on?
give me. I won't make you squeeze out one. Give me two
2,
outside of Bitcoin that you're like, this is my
Cardano.
yes, which is a steal right now, ladies and gentlemen, in the
Yeah,
60s.
Cardano under $1 is basically a steal
Yeah.
because when it goes,
65
it's
cent.
$5, and then you're gonna be like, "Damn, I should have gotten $1, 50." So
65 cent.
what else? Man, tough. This is tough. Probably Ondo.
Yeah. 99
What?
cents right now, trading live. Bo?
Oh, yeah. All right. I got XLM, SUI, because, well, the caveat with SUI is they're about to release something in quarter 1 that's supposed to be big news. It's going to change the game for them. Uh, I got AVAX, I got Solana, and my last one, Bitcoin. When I was buying yesterday, I was buying Bitcoin.
Smart man.
I
You
Buy
mean,
can
it
never
all.
have enough Bitcoin.
ever.
There's no amount that you can be like, look at that's Michael Saylor's whole thing. You can never really have enough. Buy, buy, buy.
I feel like I'm late to the party already.
Just go take out a low interest personal loan, get you some, pay
I
it
don't
off
think
over
those
time.
exist these days.
No, they're starting at like 12%.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal out here. All right. Well, I guess this segues into the bottle of the week. Tonight we are sipping Old Fitzgerald number 8. It's a beautiful bottle. I mean, I chased this bottle forever. This one was released in fall of 2023. I just cracked it open last week this time. So it's a week old. Has a week old's worth of air in it. It's coming in at 100 proof. It's about 110 bucks MSRP at a Heaven Hill distillery. Woo, nice little weeded bourbon here. I mean, the nose right off the rip, you get heavy chocolate, some like Heath bar, caramel, and like a black tea in there. The mouth feels real airy and light. Um, on the finish, I got a little bit of like cherry amaretto type of thing going on there, and coming back to that like that chocolate on the palate. Otherwise, good pour if you can find it. Highly allocated. So usually, if you see it on a shelf, it's either the store's marked it up egregiously, or it's just dusty and people don't shop that store, or people are sprinting in to find it. So, cheers. We'll see y'all next week with the next bottle. We're gonna go ahead and roll right into the next segment. What's happening? And y'all already know this is Nate's time to shine. I'm talking. We're gonna. I'm priming the pump right now. I can't wait to get this boy fired up tonight. All right, Nate.
It's not a lot going on, but it's Wednesday. The committees are coming together. Your boys are in the house. Tulsi's in the house. All the directors are coming together, establishing committees and outlining the framework of their ideals for what they want to do with the new positions that they've just acquired post confirmation. ladies and gentlemen. I think things are looking up. There's so much happening. To say I'm completely up to speed would be a lie. I can There's just so much media flying at you left, right, and center. But overall, I'm loving the pulse. I'm loving the positivity that I'm seeing. Seems like at least the White House press corps calmed down a little bit. They're being a little bit more less agitated during these events and asking questions without so much bias and condescension. Condescension. I guess that's how you say that. Yeah. So outside of that, the tariffs, I don't know why everybody's freaking out about the tariffs. Trump always plays these checkmate moves. He said, I'm going to go ahead and hit you, EU, with the 25%. I'm seeing net positives out of that, depending on what your viewpoint is. But I'm seeing Porsche looking to start manufacturing vehicles here in the United States. I want to say it was Tennessee or South Carolina, or one of those Bible belts. Same with Audi, big Audi fan. So that's awesome. Manufactured here to avoid those tariffs. And again, just going to boost the economy and help with this inflation. The inflation package rollout is going to be good. You're looking at another 1 or 2 months, but the inflation's starting to decrease. I'm seeing fuel prices come down, at least in this region. I'm sure there's still somewhere they're jacking it up a little bit. But again, we like what we're seeing out of the administration. Tulsi Gabbard's coming in. She's got a laundry list of people she's going to fire that have done some ill will on behalf of the deep state bureaucrats that we all love to talk about, and nobody knows their names. One day the boys will let me release the 6 names for you, but until we get to the big stage, we can't afford a defamation suit. But when we get to the big leagues, we'll be all right. No, outside of that, big bills coming out. Number one on everybody's minds forefront is the tax reform bill for the working class and the Social Security enrollees. So no tax on tips, another campaign promise. No tax on overtime, another campaign promise. And finally, for the love of God, there's no tax on Social Security payments to the people receiving that. So huge.
And they say he's going to wipe out the middle class.
Oh yeah, he's destroying the middle class. It's funny that the people that make those claims and represent this new middle class or the working class or whatever, I don't see that. I see they operate on the fringes, but not a single Democrat voted for that bill on the floor today. I think it was 217 Republican to 215 Democrat. So it was passed regardless. But that just shows you again, ladies and gentlemen, the power at those different levels of the checks and balance. Because while Trump may want to push something through, you still got to go through Congress. But fortunately for this administration, they have the Congress, the Senate, and the White House. So they'll be able to operate that way. And then, of course, you have your outliers in the Democratic Party, some of these lawyers who are just trying to choke out and really just prolong a lot of these legislative moves that are trying to be made right now within the administration. But again, like I said, before we came on, we were staring at the cabinet committee. So everybody's in there. You're talking about Trump, Ludwig, Hegseth, all the big dogs. Again, transparent. It's online. You can go watch everything they're talking about. That's that's one thing that bothers me about it.
Tripping nuts, and it's all online. Like they're putting all the information out there for everyone to know. So it shouldn't be a shock to anyone of what's going on. It's all right there.
Well, the shock and the confusing comes from the propagandist tactics from media sources and outlets, and for me, that's the number one thing that really agitates me. It's like you don't have to take whatever the media told you as to, they'll be like, well, Trump said this during the meeting. Did he say that?
And what I'm doing is I'm going online trying to find that.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't know where these people get off to be like, well, they're doing so much terrible shit. It's like they literally live stream all public hearings in the House. Like you can go watch it. This isn't somebody's opinion. This isn't Donald Trump's agenda. These are the people who actually dictate the legislation in this country. So and they live stream it. It's like I've never seen this much transparency. It's almost too much transparency because you're just overloaded with information 24/7.
I love it. I think it's great. I think it avoids blind sides. You keep receipts. It's all out there. I like the transparency. I like the way that the current press secretary stands on business, and that she
She about
takes
to break
charge
her
of that
fucking
thing.
legs standing on business up there on that podium. It's going crazy. But it is funny, and I almost one of my favorite talking points about the news is the hypocritical stuff. So I was watching the other day and they had a anti-Elon, the protest going on, and it's like deport Elon back where he came from, all this crazy shit. It's like, well, hold on just a second. Are you with deportation or are you not with deportation? Are you with radical change or are you not with radical change? So it's insane to me, when you have just hysterical people standing in the street saying send Elon back to Africa. Like put
Yeah.
anybody else in that category, and the response is crazy.
And again, with the transparency, one of the things that I believe he said it today in the meeting is, yeah, they've made mistakes. They've come back. They've fixed it. They cut out the I think it was like Ebola funding, and they realized, oh wait, hold on, let's pull back on that. We need to put that back in place because obviously we don't want everybody to have Ebola. So but he also mentioned, hey, we're gonna do a big drawdown. We're gonna cut the fat, and then if we cut too much, we can always put back in place. But right now, and I think I all the way back to the Clinton administration has said that government is way too big.
Yeah,
So
and
this is like the first time that we're experiencing such like pullback on it because somebody's actually standing on business and getting shit done.
well, and that's
These type
really
of
the crazy thing about it. I'm just trying to get shit done, but the crazy thing about it is like it's really not that radical. It's just an overcorrection that wasn't made over the past 30 years, 40 years, 50 years that is finally coming to a halt. And I will say, with the cutting thing, I really like Kevin O'Leary's point too. It was like when you buy a business that's upside down, you go in there, you pull your initial read. He's like, you need to go cut 20% more than that initial read. And then if we got to funnel back in, we can do it. Because the first thing is, once you make it through that first mass layoff or firing, it makes it harder to dial in on another round or so. But if you overreach the first time, it's easier to re-implement what was there. You know what I'm saying? Does
Oh
that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah. I mean, and listen, there's always going to be talent out there. It's just when you do those big drawdowns like that, like, I don't. It's you're not shorting yourself out. And those people, I think we talked about it last time. Those people that are good at their job and good at what they do and know what the and they got fired because of the fat cutting that we're calling it. They're going to be fine because they're going to find another job. Those are the people that
Or
just
they'll even
they
get their
keep
job
moving,
back because
or
if
they're
they
going to
were
get it back. That's right.
if they were that much of a cog in the wheel of the system that they're a part of, then they'll realize, oh, okay, well, we may have made a mistake here. And that I was going to interject that point earlier. The fact that they do come out here and tell you, oh, we have made a mistake and we are going to correct it. Again, I cannot stand when these people are sitting here saying they're tyrannical or this and that. Like people aren't going to tell you they make mistakes. Dictators aren't going to tell you that we fucked up. They're going to, a real dictator would point the blame and then probably behead somebody and at the town hall, live stream it, and then everybody, just continue the fear mongering and keep that base. But I don't know.
Yeah.
People just got to be realistic. Go look at the real data, just like the crypto investment, any of it. Go look at what's really happening.
Well, the one thing you ripped through a bunch of stuff. I don't I think it would have been we can't overlook it. Ron DeSantis and what he's talking about doing down there in the
Big
great state of Florida.
Ron. Eradicating property taxes, get it out of here. It should be done. I mean, that should be done countrywide, in my opinion. That should be another legislative sweep from the administration. Property tax is crazy.
It is
I mean,
crazy.
a lot of these taxes are crazy, to be honest with
Well, the there's like a meme that floats around, where you're like you go to work for a job that you get taxed, and you buy a good that you're taxed on, and there's just like this like endless loop of taxes, and the taxing is nuts. And but at the end of the day, it's like if we can cut some of those taxes, that puts more money back into the little people. I don't know what side you guys are on here, but
Yeah,
it
and
puts the money back into our pockets.
it actually stimulates the economy that we're trying to grow, and we're how do we beat this inflation crisis? You give the people in the economy more money, and then they can acquire more products. But
Yeah,
well,
these
that's just
dusty
one avenue.
economists, man. I tell you what, dude, they are hard to listen to. I listen, I'm no economist, but they just talk in circles. All they do. That well, the payment system that America has is very old, and it's very sophisticated. And I'm like,
No, it's not.
it's it's not that hard.
Dinosaur.
It is they're dinosaurs. Yeah, exactly right. They're fossils. They're dusties. Like, get them out of here. It's like let's get some. And I think that's the thing that Elon brings to the table. That's why he always wears his like tech support or like tech bro shirt. It's like they are bringing new like innovations to the government sector, the public sector of like just down to like a computer. I mean, Nate and I have both served, and like just working on a government computer in like our office spaces was like working on a freaking Bill Gates first edition of Microsoft. It was a pain in the ass. It was slow. It was always a problem. There was always something. You could only run like two or three programs on it. It's just like, what are
And
we
we
doing?
overpaid for all of that. That's the thing, and that's why most
What you
government
mean to tell me
employees will tell you
we
those
got a
things.
CAC card that can slide in here? Y'all have that capability, but we can't figure out how to work outside of Microsoft Word, Excel. That's it. You can get on the internet sometimes, but that's it. That's really the capabilities of what we were dealing with. I mean, like on like a day-to-day construction basis. Let me say that because obviously there's different branches that or different sectors of the service that have very sophisticated stuff. But ultimately just the regular GSA computers, they're struggling.
Fucking bogging down the network. We got too much bullshit.
I just want to touch on the point that Nate was talking about earlier about the tariffs. Everybody's always panicking and freaking out about that. It's the intent behind it is to benefit us, to bring in industries in America instead of just buying from outside. So yeah, we that's what the checks and balancing or the checkmate. Like, yeah, we're gonna put a 25% tariffs on you, but that's gonna incentivize them to come build here, which in turns creates more jobs and more money. Like I know Hyundai, they're building a mega plant. They've been doing this. They're building a mega plant in Savannah, Georgia.
Hmm.
And they're going to basically be all their cars that are going to be here in America are going to be uh, manufactured there. Tucson's, Palisades, Santa Fe's, and Sonatas and Elantras, and some of their EVs. The only cars that aren't going to be here are their N lines, which are like their sportier line cars, and some parts. So, I mean, it's already kind of like, granted, they've been making this move already, but it just shows them like, okay, we already made the right choice in 23 or 22 when they decided to do this. And it cuts down shipping costs and everything for them. But that's just one company. And they're talking about employing 8,500 employees on site and then another 1,400 between the mega plant campus and offsite suppliers. So
So you
you're
got
looking at,
10,000 jobs off of one company essentially.
yep.
And then you bring Porsche in, like we talked about, Audi, all these places.
I watched one today, interview with the CEO for Eli Lilly. It's a pharmaceutical company. They're talking about building four new plants here in like North Carolina and South Carolina and some other places. But I mean, they're talking about, You got scientists, just the whole stream of, pharmacists. You got a ton of people in there, and
Different industries.
yeah, it's all over the place. And yeah, it sounds. But even on the flip side, it's like, okay, if you don't want to do it, then you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay us to have your
Mm.
stuff here, which makes total sense.
Yeah, you're going to eat the shipping cost. You're going to eat the import cost. You're going to
Yeah,
eat
why are we paying for that?
EPA, taxation, all those different things. If you want to sell your product in our country, you have to pay for it. The U.S. has to pay for any market they have open in any other country. But I don't know. We've come to a place where we're just supposed to be handing out everything, which is fine. I mean, I would say I'd be much more comfortable with handouts and okay, we'll pay taxes if we weren't fucking $35 trillion in debt. It's a whole different game when you have a mass debt like that you pretty much is impossible to get rid of without drastic change. But that's what we're looking at.
Well, it's the drastic change that we are seeking,
Yes,
which
sir.
it doesn't honestly it doesn't even feel like a drastic
It's not
change.
that
It's
drastic, but
just
that's what
if you
I'm
listen
saying.
to
It's
the
just
news, it sounds like it's a drastic change. If you go to work every day, you do your job, and you come home and you never turn the news on, I don't think that like
nothing really changed.
yeah, nothing really changed. You're gonna like you'll eventually see some prices move in the store and on the pump, but if you never turn the news on, you're not hearing all that clutter.
Change is a part of
Unfortunately,
life. We need
Yeah.
change. If you have any kind of corporate job, there's change every day. What you're doing now,
all the time.
they're gonna change something up within by next year. Oh, we're gonna implement this new thing. And whether it works or not, they might keep it around. If it doesn't work, they get rid of it and go back to what they were doing before. But it's constant change.
Yeah, people get laid off all the time in the real world. People get fired, terminated. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know why people are so they want to shield all this government stuff. It's like if you're literally not working and you are not doing anything on behalf of the taxpayers that fund your job, you have to go. Like no other business is going to allow you to stay there if you're not a profitable employee.
Hyundai's hiring for all you government workers that got laid off.
Nice plug.
No, we out here. We out here. But and from that, just more exposure from Doge, and they're bringing out more corruption. Well, I call it corruption. Some people call it aid and different things. But we'll see what happens. Buckle up. You'll be real excited when you stop paying taxes on that overtime, on that OT. Man,
I
I
don't
wish
get
we'd have
that.
had that
That
4 years ago.
that one is going to be huge. I think that's going to be more paramount for the middle to lower class than most people realize. Because I mean, what is it everybody always say when they work overtime?
I don't want to work overtime
I
because
don't
I'm
want
going
to
to
pay
get taxed in
taxes.
a different tax bracket. They don't
Yep.
they might make less than if they work their regular 40 hours than working, I don't know, let's just say 50 hours because now they're in a different tax bracket. They're going to get hit with that higher tax to where now your bring home is even less than if you worked your normal hours, which is stupid. Doesn't even make sense because it's like, hey, if I'm working overtime, I get time and a half or whatever your company does. You should be bringing home more because you're putting in more. So the fact that they're getting rid of that, it would incentivize people to want to stay at work and work longer and do more if you're not paying any taxes on it. So I think that's great. I don't understand the thought process of even why anybody would be upset about somebody cutting taxes. Like we've been hearing the same BS narrative too long of, oh, we can't cut taxes because we don't have the money to do XYZ infrastructure or whatever. I want to see it happen where we, like you said, let's pull it all back, and then if we realize we did too much, you can always put it back into place, and then see where we don't need things. So I'm all for it not paying taxes. I've been saying we need a damn modern day Boston Tea Party, and that was over 3% tax raise.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting taxed like freaking by the time you add them all together, it's probably like 40%.
Oh, shit, it was like
You're
40,
getting taxed
50% of
six
the
ways to
dollar back
Sunday.
in the 70s. It's all hidden in the corporate taxes. That's where they really need to go. Because once if they can tackle the corporate tax, that'll allow businesses to pay these people even more. And I mean, it'd just be so much. A lot of prosperity is on the way for the American people.
Well, you would have the other side saying, well, that's how the rich get richer because it's capitalism, and if you get rid of the corporate tax, here's the thing: when you get into that tax bracket, there is there is certain things that you can do. There's a reason that Donald Trump doesn't pay a boatload of money in taxes every year. There's things that the rich, the business owners can do to offset their deductions. It's there. I don't know the magic. I'm not a tax professional,
Well, in
but
Trump's
I
case, a lot of his saving grace is that he's a real estate tycoon. So I mean, if you own real estate, you get massive write-offs on those properties.
sure, but there's
It's just,
also other things.
it's
There's
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
other
it's
yeah.
just
systems.
knowing and understanding the tax code. Like he said, I mean, real estate might be one of them, but there's other things that you could do to
There's
negate
loopholes.
all
There's
these
gray
taxes.
areas.
So I
Yeah,
said he understands it. He made that joke in the middle of his presidential debate with Hillary Clinton. He's like talking about you and all your friends, da da da. He's like, don't be mad at me because I know I know the loopholes. He basically said that.
Yeah,
And
he said, if you want me to pay my taxes, change the tax code.
yes.
Which
So
that he was a star from that day on because everybody's like, did he just? He really just said that shit. Of course I am. He said, of course I'm scamming the tax system. I'd be stupid not to.
oh man, 47 is something else. All
And then
right,
your boy Dan Bongino is the FBI deputy motherfucking director. Another real one. I love the
crazy things
pushback on
happening
all
over
these
there.
guys. Well, he's like deeply embedded in the system.
Well, I'm saying
Uh,
the moment that Cash started walking through the doors, there was some things happening at the FBI headquarters there.
we will decide your fate.
Apparently, they're destroying files. We'll see what develops
Mm-hmm.
from there.
Oh, they've been destroying files forever. That's why the JFK documents are it's so few nowadays. They keep destroying
Finding
them
them and
over
keep
years,
destroying
over
them.
years. I mean, they were supposed to release it 25 years after the event, and then they pushed that back another 4 years. We're just kind of sitting in limbo, but they did. They got rid of a lot of evidence right before that 25-year window where they thought they had to release it. But they don't have to release shit. Just like you don't have to pay your taxes. They can't arrest you for not paying. They can only arrest you for not filing. Don't forget that. This is not financial advice.
That's down at the bottom of the screen somewhere.
45 days. And that was on, I think, the 23rd of last month. So we're getting close to that happening. It's the deadline they set for
April 14th.
that's when it's coming.
And for what? I don't know. I
The,
was talking
the
about Texas.
no, the you brought up the whole Cash Patel, them declassifying JFK and the MLK stuff. That's supposed to come out, I think, in 45 days.
Somewhere
A
in
lot of
there.
stuff, a lot of Epstein lists.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be a hot boy
It's
summer out here. This go around. It's gonna be shit popping off left, right, and center. You're gonna have Epstein, Diddy, JFK, MLK, RFK.
they about to turn home and loose. I mean,
Big
he's already been turned loose, but they were really about to
turn them home.
chime some bells.
Everybody in
Jesus. All right.
Chicago's pissed off. It's a mess, but they're cleaning it up. They'll get to the bottom of it.
What do you know about this Ukraine US deal?
The minerals, I didn't look too much into the minerals. I don't really care. When they started talking about like, oh, we talked to you, I don't really care. When they talk to you, Ukraine ain't a big player. It's a little puppy that we keep giving them little steroids. It all really depends on what Mr. Putin says.
That was a checkmate move, in my opinion, because that's all Ukraine really has to offer is their natural gas resources. And now,
They are the number one export of fertilizer.
oh, and grain and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
But that's
him
another
doing
thing. We need to hone in on something. I hope RFK works on that too, to where these farmers can actually start selling to people, and we don't have to just go through the main, BlackRock meat packaging industry companies, the four of them, and then we can start to like we shouldn't rely on any other country to fucking feed us, house us, fuel us in any way, in my opinion.
they need to just go ahead and outlaw GMOs in general, like what is it, Monsanto's, the people that make Roundup and own the patents
Mhm.
on all these seeds. Like, it's crazy to me that if some corporate GMO seeds are being grown up the road and I have my organic business growing, if they cross pollinate, now I can be sued for that. Like that they need to get rid of that. That shouldn't even be a thing because that just is a deterrent for people to go organic versus the GMO. And it would make us more money because I was remember watching a documentary about how we can't sell our grain outside of the US because other countries don't want it because it's like it's poisonous.
Toxic.
It's toxic. They don't want it. They rather go somewhere else and get it. So
Hmm.
if we can get back to things like that, then we can actually start exporting the things that we grow here.
100%. And that's what, again, people, this is where the Doge and the clean out is going to happen because you got to understand some of these doctors who sit on these boards, their number one sponsor. God, I can't remember the lady's name right now, but she's one of the head doctors for EPA or whatever organization all this goes through. But she's also her number one sponsor, Ozempic. Well, not Ozempic, but the company that makes Ozempic. Like that's who's funded her entire campaign to get to where she is. And you can't trust. I don't trust nobody. I'm growing my own fucking food. Like I don't, no.
So Ozempic is Nova Nordisk.
Yep, that's the one.
That's the one. So getting back to the U.S. Ukraine deal, it's no security. It's mineral. Uh, we get to explore for more minerals in the territory, and we split 50%. Allegedly, that's what the deal was. Oh yeah, it's pretty hefty.
Yeah, it's solid. I'm not saying. I'm just saying when we end it, it's going to be on the basis of America and Russia. We got some excitement. China sends a warning to the U.S. Stop sending artillery to Taiwan. Fuck you, China.
Just in 47 is closing 120 IRS tax offices nationwide. Keeping with our taxes theme, this is great news.
Well, it's just like the last round that who what they hire 80,000 people, and then they didn't even. Okay, so they hire 80,000 people to go find all this money that us poor citizens just happen to owe the government, and they spent more money employing those people than they did in returns. Again, it's just like it's a failed business plan, not going to work. More
I don't think
staff isn't always the problem. How many times you ever heard that in your life? Well, let's throw some more bodies at it. No, we need to throw some fucking brains at this motherfucker and cut down on the bodies.
Facts. That's always the government's way. Again, we
I would
it's
argue they
all
didn't even hire 80,000 people.
No,
They
it was
probably
just on
hired
paper.
those 180-year-olds that are collecting Social Security and
well, that was
funneling
what
that money
Elon was
back
talking
into their
about
pocket.
in their committee meeting today. He was saying that, part of that reason for those emails is there is known fictional people who work for the government that are collecting the check but actually working somewhere else. So they're not really they're just paying a fake person that somebody's collecting the money off of. Kind of keeping along with the transparency and wrapping it all together. The IRS thing, again, Doge on their X account put, should we audit the IRS? And I believe it was like yes, F yes, and no. And I think half the people, if you went into the comments, half the people were like, I would have clicked F yes, but I just saw yes and got excited. I wish I would have selected F yes. So again, transparency, it's all right there in front of you. If you don't know or you can't see it, you're not looking.
Well, they just see what they want to see. Again,
Eyes
I've
wide shut.
I've literally sat down and watched things, and I talked to people about it. And it's like we watched two different programs. I'm like, did you watch what I just watched? Like,
Facts.
that's what you heard. Let me break
I
that down
remember
for you.
discussing the debate between Trump and Kamala, the first one that they had, and it's like my perspective versus the person that was not next to me, but the opposing party, their perspective, they're like, she was eating and leaving no crumbs. I'm like, did we watch the same thing? What are you
Oh
talking
yeah.
about? I heard word salads. She was fumbling. What are we talking about? I mean, they were fact checking my guy left and right. They scripted her words. It's
I
just
mean, that's all perspective in human psychology.
yeah,
People are gonna pick out the things that they want to hear. Oh, and this goes for both sides. You're gonna want to hear. This is where it takes some mental concentration and discipline to kind of try to just filter
unbiased.
through your unbiases and listen to it at a face value and for what it is. But yeah, people, that's why we can use that analogy on a lot of things. We can all watch the same thing and we'll all take something different from it, even though
Just
we
like
all
this,
heard the same things.
just like this big dip in the crypto. You get so many different responses. I'm fucking cheesing, smiling, buying, going crazy. Everybody else is thinking about liquidating their life. I mean, you got some guy pulled the trigger on himself on a, pump.fun because he lost his last $500. It's like, man, what are you doing?
It's nuts.
You should have put it in some Bitcoin. He would only be down probably like probably $100 instead of the whole 500.
Representative Roe, I'm gonna butcher his name, Kahana
Rokana.
Kana from California, uh, has introduced the Drain the Swamp Act. It'll ban White House officials from accepting gifts from lobbyists or becoming lobbyists during the Trump term.
It's such a comical time to be alive and be aware of what's going on in politics, man. It's because again, since the dawn of time, these influences have been there. And each party, like Corey said, you got to look at this with that. You got to have some mental fortitude and go in there locked in on the objective truth. Because like I said, I know I sit here and go crazy and sound like I'm just fanboying all the time, but they do shit that I don't like. Trump says shit I don't like, and I say, I mean, not right now, but when I see him on TV, I'm like, man, you shouldn't have fucking said that, or that was whatever. So just get in there and get the facts and fucking get out. Because if you stay too long, you'll be wrapped up in every network's opinion of what happened.
Heard that. I think that covers down what I have for talking points tonight.
Yeah, I just have some other small stuff that's really not relevant, but
Well, hit us with it. What do you got?
nothing that just, again, because we talk about how I don't know how people can have these mindsets, but like we said, depending on who you're listening to and depending on what you're committed to. I was listening to the AOC talk about the tax cuts and all this crazy stuff and just fanning those flames of division. She went in there and said illegal immigrants pay more in taxes than we do. Just all these crazy things, more taxes than large corporations and all these things. I'm like, you do realize that illegal immigrants don't have a TIN. Like they don't pay, there's no tax. They don't file. Stop it. But people can get in there and believe if you're just a fan, whatever of AOC, then you can get in there and be like, damn, that's the objective truth right there.
Mm-hmm. It's a fun time we live in.
It's amazing.
I mean,
But
between the two, and they kind of really just they roll together in the sentiment of how emotional, I guess, they both are with the politics, current events, and where crypto is right now. It's hilarious. I mean, I bet if you asked 10 influencers why the market went down, they would probably say tariffs.
It was the
Better,
25% tariff.
the better half of them would say tariffs. Who really even knows? But I see it will be back. That's all
Oh,
I'm
there's no
saying.
doubt about that.
It will be
Bla-
back.
BlackRock pulled their ETFs in the downspout. I guarantee it. They sold them bitches at
They dumped some money
94.
in the Coinbase too.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they sold at 99.5 and they're buying back in at 84.
Stealing it from y'all in front of
Just
your face.
working the system.
You got to. That's what we're
Make it
here to
work for
do.
you, right?
They're working you. They're working you. They're
Ain't
not and
working
not when
me.
I say
Shit,
no,
no. I'm
when
good.
I say you, I'm talking to
He's talking
about
to the
just people
I
in
people.
know, I
general.
know.
They're working
Just
you.
in, ladies and gentlemen,
I mean, come on.
breaking news. FBI has confirmed North Korea is responsible for the Bybit hack, $1.5 billion in Ethereum.
Right
Confirmed.
after Trump went and met him too. Dirty
Did you
little
do it,
bastard.
motherfucker? You're gonna tell him, Rocket Boy. You're gonna tell him.
Interesting.
But no, I said they're playing you because they do. I mean, 8 months ago, they had people think we were about to go into nuclear war, you know, and now the sentiment has changed. People don't feel like that. There's peace talks and all kinds of things. So and that's not just politics. Again, this goes into the markets too, with the news and the fear. They they love to push fear. They really do. So don't panic. Turn off your
Yeah.
TV. Like you said, if you didn't watch your TV, you wouldn't even know what was going on right now if you just continue to live your life. You probably would question, man, why is everything getting so more, everything getting so expensive? But besides that, sometimes you just need to turn it off and get out away from all the noise and
Go get some
clear your
fucking
head.
sunlight, people.
Go outside. Yes, put your bare knuckle toes in the grass, get some grounding in, do some meditation, and pray. I think that's what people need in their life right now. You're always looking outside of yourself to some savior.
Well,
And,
I think people have a hard time sitting with themselves without their device.
Yeah,
well,
most people
and
can't
that's
do that.
why I push meditation because meditation is really training your mind to focus and to block out all these intrusive thoughts that you have and give you some mental control.
I
Um,
don't even my type of meditation, bro. I don't even like my first phase of meditation. I don't try to block nothing. I let it all. I address it all, and then I slide into my depth of my meditation because it's coming. I mean, I got a
yeah.
hyperactive brain. It's coming, so I'm like, boom. I just address them. Boom, 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 boom.
Loud ass motherfucking bird.
No,
Snatch a
no,
feather from
I
me.
feel you. My mind is all over the place all the time, so I can I can agree with that. But the
But
reason
well,
why
I
I
guess what
say
I was trying to
quiet
say
things
was just
out,
find your way of meditation. It ain't just sit there completely silent. If you gotta address those issues, address those fucking issues and
yeah,
get through it and then move forward.
I just
I'm
feel
still trying to
like
address the issue with Nate since like 2015 when we just great. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, where's he going with this?
Nah, I'm just fucking around.
But no, again, it's not necessarily. It has a lot of benefits to it. Just say that, like you should do it. A lot of people do, especially here in America. Meditation isn't like a uh avid practice that people do. A lot of people more participate in prayer, but I always looked at it as prayer is you sending out your thoughts and what you want, and meditation is you sitting and receiving the message from God, the universe, whatever that may be, or your higher self, whatever that is, that conversation. Because I'll tell you what, you'll have some very clear thoughts and amazing thoughts when you can silence your mind essentially when you empty it out, you allow that external force to come in and school you in a sense on whether that's something going on currently in your life or something about yourself or something you've been pondering on for a long time and help you give you some clarity. That's all I'll say.
Go get my meditation in. I didn't do it today. I sat out there in the sun for a little bit.
The weather's getting nice and warm. What's the
Yeah.
temperature where you're at?
It was about 62-ish earlier. It was very comfortable outside.
We were at 49.50 earlier. Beautiful.
Ooh,
Scorching.
gracious.
Scorching, cooking. Hey, I'll take 50 over -20. Feel like -40.
Contrast. It's beautiful 71, starry sky down here, ladies and gentlemen. Eastern Seaboard. What a beautiful place to be.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Any more
Final breaking news. The IMF has finalized their deal with El Salvador. More to come.
more to come?
Said something
Sure,
about
next week
limiting,
we'll have the full update for you.
said something about limiting their purchase power. But we'll see.
So the coming week we got,
There's nothing back there.
well, I got stuff back. I got a calendar back on my wall here. Uh the mothership's coming in. So we'll see what happens. Listen, thank y'all for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you're thinking. Give us some feedback. If you got a question, we'll happily address it on the show. We're here. We do this. I mean, to be selfish, we do this to hang out and talk shit amongst us. But we also we enjoy the feedback. The guys they work hard on getting the stuff out. Nate's running these shorts out like no other. You would think he had a sweatshop in the basement.
Man, that's the chief editor right there.
I'm telling you, he is chief editor, officer, CEO. Kit.
CEO Flow, ladies and gentlemen, 2025. Don't miss out. We'll bring it to you every week for a reason.
It's fun. Had a
And
good
to
time.
be clear, I'm not here for fun. I was coerced into being here. I feel like Marshawn at the post game interviews.
Don't act like you don't enjoy it.
Sometimes.
Yeah, don't let him fool y'all. He talks the game, but he enjoys it. He's the one that keeps us in line most of the time.
You know what? We'll do an episode where we'll let you drop these names so we can get our defamation case. Maybe they say
Chill out, chill out. That'll be after it comes out.
what's the old saying? No publicity or
All
Bad
publicity is good
better
publicity.
than yeah, exactly. So
Or all publicity. Yeah.
let's strum some notes.
I'm not there yet.
All
Not
right.
there yet. Let's wait for this bull market to hit, and then we can start sorting out lawyers.
Fair enough.
I mean, we won't need it. We'll just have to defer the case for a little while and then the truth will come out.
Or we just wait for it to come out, and then you can slam your defamations.
We want to be like Da Vinci J15, say, I told you so.
I told you so. We got some I told you so moments. There's definitely a few
Yeah.
that I can recall from the first few episodes for sure. And then in a few
Absolutely.
weeks, we'll be recalling some of these episodes 8, 9, and 10, 11. Be like, tried to tell you. They told me
Tried
to
to
be
tell you.
advantageous, but I wasn't because I was listening to Fox. No, probably not Fox Business, but whoever the fuck.
All right, that's it. Let's call it a night, boys. See y'all next week.
Later.